In this world, we often admire what looks strong: the mountain, the steel, the storm. Yet the mountain erodes, the steel rusts, and the storm passes. What lasts is often what seems soft: the water, the wind, the light. In the same way, there is a quiet strength that lives inside every gentle heart. When life becomes rough, many people build walls to protect themselves. They believe hardness will keep them safe, but in truth, it only makes them tired and lonely. A hard heart cannot feel joy deeply, just as a clenched hand cannot hold a flower. Softness, on the other hand, allows us to stay open to life. It bends with pain, but does not break. To stay soft in a hard world is not weakness. It is a deep act of courage. It means choosing to feel instead of turning away. It means allowing the heart to stay alive, even when the world is cold. When you stay soft, you stay connected to yourself, to others, and to the quiet rhythm of life that moves through everything. You may notice that softness grows when you stop fighting the world and start listening to it. It whispers in the way sunlight touches a leaf, or in the voice of someone who still believes in kindness. In every small act of patience, in every gentle word, softness lives. And in that softness, there is an unshakable peace that even the hardest world cannot take away. There are moments when the world feels cold, when people speak with anger, or when life seems unfair. In those moments, our first reaction is often to close ourselves off. We think, if I stop caring, I won't be hurt. But each time we close the door of the heart, we also close the door to understanding and connection. Unkindness is not new. It has always existed in many shapes and forms, but so has kindness. The problem is that harshness makes more noise. It is loud, quick, and easy to notice. Kindness, on the other hand, moves quietly. It works in silence, in a smile, in a gentle word, in a small act that no one may ever see. When the world feels unkind, that is the time we need gentle hearts the most. It helps to remember that everyone carries some form of pain. Sometimes people act harshly because they are protecting their own wounds. When we see this, we can choose to respond differently. We can stay calm instead of reacting. We can stay kind even when kindness is not returned. This does not mean accepting harm, but it means not adding more pain to the world. When the world feels unkind, do not lose faith in goodness. There is still warmth in this world, sometimes hidden, but always present. Even a small act of softness can change the feeling of a moment. Just as one candle can light a dark room, one gentle heart can remind others that humanity still exists, even in the hardest of times. A tender heart may seem fragile, but in truth, it holds a quiet power. It is not loud or proud, and it does not seek attention. Yet it can change the atmosphere of a room, calm another person's anger, and bring peace to troubled minds. The power of a tender heart lies in its ability to remain gentle when others cannot. When someone treats you unfairly, it is easy to respond with the same energy. But a tender heart knows there is another way. It listens before it reacts. It sees the pain behind another's harsh words. It understands that every person has their own struggle. This understanding does not make you weak. It gives you control over how you live and what kind of energy you share. A tender heart does not fight against life. It flows with it. It learns from sadness instead of hiding from it. It sees beauty in imperfection and meaning in loss. When your heart stays tender, you stay close to what is real. You can see things as they are, without judgment or fear. People often think that strength is about winning or protecting oneself. But true strength is the ability to stay open when the world gives you reasons to close. It is the power to keep loving, even when love is not returned. Such strength does not shout. It simply shines, and in its quiet light, others may find the courage to soften too. Many people believe that to survive in a harsh world, they must become hard. They say, "If I am soft, people will take advantage of me." But softness is not the same as weakness. Weakness is when you cannot stand firm in truth. Softness is when you can stay calm and kind, even in difficulty. It takes far more wisdom to stay gentle than to become bitter. Softness does not mean saying yes to everything. It means knowing when to step back, when to speak with care, and when to remain silent. It means understanding that every moment, even a painful one, can teach you something about yourself. The soft person can adapt, like water, taking the shape of its container without losing its essence. When you meet someone who is truly soft, you will notice a quiet presence around them. They do not need to prove anything. Their peace speaks louder than their words. They do not fight for control. They move with understanding. This kind of softness comes from a heart that has seen suffering and chosen compassion instead of anger. In life, storms will come. The wind will blow. The world will test you. If you try to resist everything, you will become tired and rigid. But if you stay soft, flexible yet steady, you can move with the storm and still keep your center. This is not the softness of weakness. It is the softness of wisdom, born from seeing that everything changes and still choosing peace. In a world that values control and achievement, many of us learn to resist. We resist pain. We resist failure. We even resist love when it feels uncertain. We build habits of defense, always preparing for the next challenge. But life is not only about resisting. It is also about receiving, being open enough to let life touch us deeply. To receive means to allow yourself to feel the warmth of a kind word, the beauty of a quiet morning, or the simple comfort of being with someone who understands you. When you are always protecting yourself, you cannot feel these things fully. The heart becomes like a closed window. The light is outside, but it cannot come in. Softness opens that window. Learning to receive is not easy. It means trusting that the world still holds goodness. It means letting go of the thought that you must always be strong or right. When you receive with openness, you give others a gift too. You allow them to share their care, their time, their love. You create a space where connection can grow. There is quiet wisdom in being able to say, "I don't have to fight this moment. I can let it be." The gentle person knows that resistance often creates more pain, while acceptance allows healing to begin. Life flows more easily when we stop trying to control every wave and instead learn to float with it, not powerless, but peaceful. In receiving, we rediscover our softness, and with it, a deeper kind of strength. Kindness does not make headlines. It does not shout. It does not demand attention. Yet it has a quiet courage that holds the world together in ways we often cannot see. It takes real strength to stay kind when life is disappointing, when people misunderstand you, or when the world around you feels rough. Kindness, in such moments, is not easy. It is brave. To be kind is to see another person's humanity, even when they forget yours. It is to choose patience when anger would be faster. It is to say gentle words when harsh ones would be easier. This kind of kindness does not come from comfort. It comes from clarity. You understand that everyone is walking their own difficult path, and you choose not to add more pain to it. The world often tells us that power belongs to those who win, who are loud, who dominate. But the power of kindness is different. It does not need to win. It transforms quietly, like sunlight melting snow. It softens hearts, not through force, but through presence. And often, The people who seem the strongest are those who have kept their kindness intact after many storms. When you act with kindness, even in small ways, you become a reminder that gentleness still exists. You give others permission to slow down, to breathe, to be human again. Every act of kindness is like planting a seed in hard soil. You may not see it bloom right away, but someday, somewhere, it will grow into something beautiful. Disappointment comes to everyone. Sometimes it arrives quietly, through small daily struggles. Other times, it feels like a storm that takes away what we believed would last. When this happens, the heart naturally wants to close. We say to ourselves, "I will not trust again. I will not hope again." But when we close our hearts to pain, we also close them to joy. Staying open amid disappointment does not mean pretending everything is fine. It means allowing yourself to feel sadness without turning it into bitterness. It means saying, "This hurts, but I will not let it make me cold." Pain is real, but it can also be a teacher. It reminds us of what we care about, and it shows us that even loss can deepen our compassion. If you look carefully, you will see that disappointment can polish the heart, just as water smooths a stone. It wears away our pride and sharp edges, leaving something gentler behind. When you stay open, you discover that your heart becomes wider, not weaker. You begin to understand others more easily, because you have also known struggle. It takes quiet courage to face what has broken, and still believe in goodness. But that courage is the seed of wisdom. Every time you open your heart again, after failure, after rejection, after loss, you are not the same as before. You are softer, yes, but also stronger, deeper, and more real. This is the hidden gift of disappointment. It teaches us how to stay open, even when it hurts. There is a kind of peace that comes only when we stop fighting what is. Many people spend their lives trying to change everything around them. People, situations, even the past. But life has its own rhythm, and no one can control every note. Acceptance is not giving up. It is learning to dance with the music that is already playing. When we resist reality, our hearts become tense. We argue with life, saying, "It shouldn't be this way." Yet the moment we accept things as they are, a space opens inside us. In that space, calm appears. We begin to see more clearly. We can act more wisely, because we are no longer blinded by anger or fear. Acceptance allows us to move forward without carrying the heavy weight of resentment. Acceptance also teaches us humility. It reminds us that the world is larger than our own desires. There are times we must simply breathe and let life unfold, trusting that even pain has its place in the great picture. When we stop demanding that everything fit our plan, we find that life still offers quiet beauty, a sunset, a kind word, a moment of rest. Peace does not come from controlling everything. It comes from being in harmony with what is real. The soft heart accepts not because it is weak, but because it understands that fighting every wave only exhausts us. When we learn to float, the current itself carries us toward balance. In acceptance, we rediscover peace, not as an idea, but as a way of living. To live with grace in a harsh world is one of the most beautiful forms of strength. Grace is quiet, steady, and full of understanding. It does not mean pretending that pain does not exist. It means walking through difficulty with calm dignity and choosing not to lose your kindness, even when life tests you. Grace begins with how we carry ourselves each day. When someone is rude, we can respond without anger. When life feels unfair, we can still act with honesty. Grace is not about perfection, it is about intention. It is choosing to act from peace rather than reaction. When we live this way, we become a soft light in a dark world. The harshness of the world cannot touch the one who has learned grace. Such a person sees clearly, but does not become bitter. They feel deeply, but do not become lost in sorrow. They give what they can, without expecting reward. Their gentleness is not a performance. It comes from a place of quiet understanding that all beings are struggling in their own way. To live with grace is to let life shape you, but never harden you. It is to let sadness deepen your compassion and joy remind you to be thankful. Grace grows when you forgive, when you smile even through tears, when you choose patience over pride. In this way, you walk through the world softly, but every step leaves peace behind. In the end, softness is not something we must learn from books. It is something already within us, waiting to be remembered. The world often tells us to be strong, to protect ourselves, to move faster. But real strength does not come from resistance. It comes from understanding. When we remember our natural softness, we begin to live in harmony with life again. Softness allows us to listen more deeply, to forgive more easily, and to love without fear. It reminds us that gentleness does not mean passivity, and that calmness is not emptiness. To stay soft in a hard world is to live with awareness, care, and quiet confidence. It is to trust that even in difficulty there is beauty, and even in loss there is meaning. Each day offers us a chance to return to that softness, to pause before reacting, to see with kindness, to speak with care. We may not always succeed, but every small effort shapes the world around us. In this way, one soft heart can touch another, and the echo continues, like ripples across still water. Before I finish, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who supports this channel. Your kind messages, your thoughtful comments, your generous super thanks, and the warm presence of the members who continue to walk this path with me. All of it means more than words can say. To those who take the time to listen and reflect, thank you for bringing your heart here. May your days be gentle, and may softness always find its way back to you.